Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Passion Project podcast. Today, we're talking about passion or distraction, how to know which ideas to follow. Welcome to the Passion Project podcast, the show that helps multi-passionate entrepreneurs turn their skills, talents, and ideas into a thriving business. I'm your host, Esme Papa, and let's get started. If you're anything like me, your brain is constantly buzzing with new ideas. One minute you want to launch a coaching program, the next you want to start a YouTube channel, and then suddenly you're thinking about opening up a coffee shop in Bali. Sound familiar? But here's the thing, not all ideas are meant to be pursued. We're multi-passionate, sure, but we still have to be decisive when it comes to what we're passionate about and what we pursue. Some are distractions, while other things are your true calling. So, how do you tell the difference? How do you know which passions will actually lead to something fulfilling, sustainable, and worth your time? That's exactly what we're diving into today. And by the end of this episode, you'll have a clear framework to filter your ideas, follow what truly excites you, and stop wasting time on things that don't align. Let's get started. Let's start with why this is even a problem in the first place. As multi-passionates, our gift is that we see potential in everything. We get inspired easily, we pick up new skills fast, and we're constantly growing and looking for new ways to learn. But that also means we can get stuck in an endless loop of getting excited about an idea, going all in for weeks, months, years, then losing all interest and doubting ourselves, and jumping to the next idea, starting the whole cycle all over again. And then we wonder why we can't just stick to one thing and what we're supposed to be doing, what's our calling, what's your potential. But it's not like you're failing when you choose something and lose interest. That's totally okay. You're not failing because of that. Doesn't matter if you want to choose different ideas and pursue different passions. It's just the way of figuring out what is right for you and what is a spur of the moment thing and what is a long-term thing. Passion versus distraction. How to tell the difference. So how do you know if an idea is a real passion worth pursuing or just a temporary distraction? Well, here's a 4-step test to filter your ideas. Number 1, does this idea keep coming back to you? Some ideas are just fun to think about. For example, I think about opening up a coffee shop with a library and a little singing nook. And I think that could be very cute and fun. But it's a kind of like a spur of the moment idea because I also really appreciate freedom and I wouldn't be able to travel as much and I wouldn't be able to travel as much and I would have to like stick to where the coffee shop is locally. So I don't really feel like pursuing that in the end, even though it is like a passion project dream. So if you've been thinking about a specific passion or business ideas for months or even years, then pay attention to it because it's not a random thought anymore if you keep thinking it. If I was thinking about that cafe every day, then I would go pursue it, but I'm not. So I'm not pursuing it. Hope that makes sense. All right, filter number 2 is, would you still do this even if you didn't make money right away? So if you're only chasing an idea because it sounds profitable or you want to make a buck, but your heart isn't really in it, then you'll burn out really fast because multi-passionate people need to stay lit by their passion. They need to have the little spark that makes them excited over and over again about their ideas. Number 3. Does this idea align with your bigger vision? Imagine your dream life and the impact you want to make. So the purpose of if you want to touch other people's hearts or minds and inspire them, does this idea actually match up with that? Or what is your bigger purpose? What's your ikigai in Japanese? What do you want to pursue in order to make an impact? Does this idea align with that impact? Number 4, does this idea feel expansive or exhausting? So a good way to think about if an idea is good for you is if you filter it by really just taking a moment to envision what it would be like. And then if the energy in your body is draining from thinking of all the things you would have to do to even get this idea started, then it's probably not for you. But if you're very, very excited about every step along the way, even the things that are hard, then you should definitely do it. Pursue it. All right, now let's talk about that one idea you can't stop thinking about. You know the one I mean, the vision that pops into your head when you daydream. The things you tell yourself, like maybe one day, the project that no matter how many other things you try, you always come back to in your mind, maybe. For me, that's writing the Passion Project book, and I'm currently working on it. So I kept on thinking about writing a book, and I just started to make it happen. I'm just writing the book, and I have an author as my writing coach, and I'm very excited. So it's a little segue, but the thing you keep thinking and dreaming about is usually something that you have to pursue, because otherwise it will never leave you alone. You just have to do it. It ignites you, it sparks joy, it sparks passion, so then you should do it. And in that case, it's never a coincidence, it's a calling. So if something is constantly pulling at you, it's because it's meant for you. If an idea keeps coming back, it's a sign that the universe, your intuition, or whatever you believe in, is trying to get your attention. Like, hey, you should do this. You should really go do this. You should really go do that thing that you keep thinking about. The things you're obsessed with and the things that light you up, they're not random. They're clues to what you're meant to do, so your purpose. Ask yourself, what's the one thing or multiple things that you keep thinking about but haven't gone all in on yet? So maybe it's something new that you want to do, or maybe you want to combine two ideas, like, for example, the cafe with a bookstore. If you love books and coffee, then you can combine two passions, for example. What's the thing you wish you had the courage to pursue? Because that is what you should be focusing on. All right, so now that you know what's real and what's a distraction, how do you actually start? Well, the hardest part isn't knowing what you love doing, right? It's doing something about the thing that you want to do. So step one is choose one passion as your main focus for now. So you can't build all of your passion projects at once. You have to start with one thing and make it a solid foundation before you move on to the next thing. If that's how you work, if that's what works for you. For example, I write my book, but I'm also doing this podcast because it's very easy for me to combine, and I can still manage my time well enough to combine it. But if you're really just starting out with something, then you should focus on getting the foundation first before moving on to the next project or the next step into that project. Stop jumping between 10 things, basically, is what I'm saying. Step two is take a small step already today. Whatever you can think about doing today, whether it's making a Pinterest board, if it's like brainstorming, jotting down some ideas, if it's talking to a friend of yours who has some experience or knowledge about the subject that you want to start something in, just don't overthink it and ask other people for advice. Start doing something small today so that you know you've made progress already today. And step three is trust that the right passion will lead to the next one. For example, I know that my book will probably lead to maybe speaking gigs, and I am excited about that as well. But I'm not actively pursuing speaking gigs right now because I know once my book is here, then it's more likely for me to get asked or be reciprocated when I'm asking for an opportunity. So I just think some things are worth taking time, and something else is more important right now, which is writing my book. All right, let's recap what we covered today. We did the passion versus distraction test on how to tell what's truly worth your time. And we talked about your calling, which is the idea that keeps on coming back to you and how that's not random. And how to take action. So we had 3 steps. Number 1, choose one passion as your main focus for now. Step 2, take a small step already today. And step 3, trust that the right passion will lead to the next one. All right, if you haven't already, follow the podcast. If you like this episode, please share it on Instagram and TikTok. I would really, really appreciate it. And follow me at @esmepapa, tag me in it. And I am very excited to see what your next passion project is. Keep me in the loop. Okay, thank you. Bye.